The rain
I can't
hammered
keep
against the
doing this.
diner
I
windows
know.
like a
Let's go
thousand
inside.
desperate fingers seeking shelter. Marcus Chen wiped down the counter for the third time that hour, his calloused hands moving in practiced circles. At 42, he'd perfected the art of looking busy when business was slow. His daughter Emma's medical bills sat folded in his back pocket, a constant reminder of why he worked double shifts at 2 jobs. The diner was nearly empty except for old Joe nursing his coffee in the corner booth when Marcus heard it, a sound that made his blood run cold. A child's cry, sharp and terrified, cutting through the storm. He dropped his rag and rushed to the door. Through the sheets of rain, he saw her, a little girl, no more than 6 years old, standing alone on the sidewalk. Her pink dress clung to her small frame, and her dark hair was plastered to her face. She was sobbing, turning in circles, looking for someone who wasn't there. Marcus didn't hesitate. He grabbed his jacket and bolted into the downpour. "Hey, sweetheart. It's okay, I've got you." He knelt beside her, holding his jacket over her head. The girl's eyes were wide with fear, tears mixing with rainwater on her cheeks. She tried to speak, but only hiccuping sobs came out. "Come on, let's get you inside where it's warm." Marcus scooped her up, feeling how she trembled against his chest. His manager, Rita, met them at the door with towels. They wrapped the little girl in warm fabric, and Marcus carried her to a booth, setting her down gently. "What's your name, honey?" he asked softly, kneeling to her eye level. His own daughter was 10 now, and he remembered when she was this small, before the diagnosis, before everything changed. The girl's lips quivered. Sophie," she whispered. Her accent was unusual, refined, definitely not local. "Sophie, that's a beautiful name. I'm Marcus. Can you tell me where your mommy or daddy is?" Fresh tears spilled down her face. "I don't know. We were shopping, and I saw a puppy, and I followed it, and then I couldn't find mommy anywhere." Her voice rose to a panicked wail. Rita brought hot chocolate, and Marcus helped Sophie wrap her small hands around the mug. "It's going to be okay. We're going to find your mommy. Do you know your phone number?" Sophie shook her head, her bottom lip trembling. "I'm only 6. Mommy says I'll learn it when I'm 7. Marcus exchanged a worried glance with Rita. "Okay, that's okay. Do you know your mommy's name?" "Victoria," Sophie said, then added with childish seriousness, "Victoria Ashford. She's very important." The name meant nothing to Marcus, but he pulled out his phone and called the police. While they waited, he sat with Sophie, talking gently about anything he could think of to keep her calm. He told her about his daughter Emma, about her love of astronomy and how she wanted to be an astronaut despite the illness that kept her in bed most days. "Your daughter sounds nice," Sophie said shyly, some color returning to her cheeks. "Is she sick?" Marcus's throat tightened. "Yeah, sweetheart. She has something called leukemia. But she's the bravest person I know. My mommy gives money to hospitals," Sophie offered. "Maybe she can help your daughter." Before Marcus could respond, the diner door exploded open. A woman strode in, followed by 4 men in dark suits and 2 police officers. She was striking, tall, elegant even in distress, wearing what Marcus recognized as designer clothing. Her eyes scanned the room with laser focus until they landed on Sophie. "Sophie." The woman's composure shattered. She rushed forward, and Sophie leapt from the booth into her arms. "Mommy. I was so scared." Victoria Ashford held her daughter like she'd never let go, her body shaking with silent sobs. For a long moment, she just held Sophie, whispering in her ear, kissing her forehead. Then she turned to Marcus, her eyes red but sharp. "You found her. You saved her." Her voice was thick with emotion. "I just brought her inside, ma'am. Anyone would have done the same. But you did it." Victoria set Sophie down but kept one hand on her shoulder. One of the suited men approached, speaking in low tones, but Victoria waved him away impatiently. Her attention remained fixed on Marcus. "What's your name?" "Marcus Chen, ma'am." "Mr. Chen, I need to speak with you privately. Please." There was something in her tone that wasn't quite a request, and Marcus felt suddenly uneasy. Rita offered to watch Sophie, who was happily working on a second hot chocolate and a slice of pie. Marcus led Victoria to a corner booth. The woman who sat across from him looked haunted. "Mr. Chen, I need to tell you something, and I need you to stay calm." She leaned forward, her voice dropping. "Sophie isn't just my daughter. She's my world. 3 years ago, my husband was killed. It wasn't an accident, he was murdered because of our family's wealth and influence. Since then, there have been 6 attempts to kidnap Sophie. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. 6. The man you saw me with, Thomas. He's head of Sophie's security team. Today, someone created a diversion in the shopping center. They used some kind of device that interfered with the security earpieces. Sophie wandered off in those 3 minutes of chaos. Victoria's hands clenched on the table. Mr. Chen, the people who took Sophie were professionals. They had a van waiting. They were supposed to grab her off that street. The room seemed to tilt. What are you saying? You interfered with an act of kidnapping. By bringing Sophie inside, by making her visible through the diner windows, you disrupted their plan. They couldn't take her with witnesses around. Victoria's eyes glistened. But here's the terrifying part, they know who you are now. We have reason to believe they've already identified you. Your address. Your daughter. Marcus's heart stopped. Emma, my security team is with her right now. She's safe. But Mr. Chen, I need you to understand, by saving my daughter, you've put yourself in danger. These people are ruthless. They will come after you to tie up loose ends. The diner felt too small, the air too thick. Marcus thought of Emma, home with the neighbor, probably reading her space books, completely unaware. What do I do? Victoria reached across and took his hand. Her grip was surprisingly strong. You let me help you. You and your daughter will come under my protection until we neutralize this threat. My head of security is already coordinating with the FBI. But Marcus, there's something else. She pulled out her phone, showing him a photo of a man. Do you recognize him? Marcus studied the picture. Something about the face was familiar. Then it hit him, the guy who'd been in the diner earlier, before the rain started. He'd ordered coffee, barely touched it, and left right before Sophie appeared. He was watching, Marcus breathed. He was watching to make sure no one interfered. And you interfered anyway. Victoria's voice cracked. You saved my baby without knowing any of this. When my team traced the security footage from the area, I saw what you did. You ran into that storm without hesitation. You protected her. You gave her comfort. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Do you know what that means to me? Do you know how many people would have looked the other way, too afraid to get involved? Marcus thought of Emma, imagined her lost and alone in a storm. She's somebody's daughter, he said simply. That's all that mattered. Victoria wiped her eyes. Your daughter, Emma. You mentioned her leukemia. I made some calls while my team was securing the area. There's an experimental treatment at Johns Hopkins. Very expensive, but the success rate is remarkable. Consider it done. Consider everything done. Your medical bills, your debts, gone. And after this is over, I'm offering you a position with my foundation. We help vulnerable children worldwide. You have exactly the kind of heart we need. Marcus shook his head, overwhelmed. I can't accept. You can, and you will. Not as payment, you can't put a price on what you did today. But because my daughter is safe because of you, and your daughter deserves the chance to live her dreams. Victoria's voice turned fierce. Let me do this. Let me help your family the way you helped mine. Through the window, Marcus could see the storm beginning to clear. Sophie had left the booth and was talking animatedly to Rita, her earlier terror forgotten in the way only children can manage. She caught him looking and waved, her smile brilliant and innocent. In that moment, Marcus understood something profound. He'd walked into that rain expecting nothing, wanting nothing but to help a scared child. Now his whole world was changing, dangerous and terrifying, yes, but also filled with possibilities he'd never dared imagine. Emma's treatment. A new future. Hope. My daughter wants to be an astronaut, he said quietly. Victoria smiled through her tears. Then we'll make sure she reaches the stars. The FBI arrived 20 minutes later. As Marcus was briefed on the security protocols for the coming weeks, he watched Sophie play with a small toy Rita had found behind the counter. The little girl caught his eye and held up the toy, a small rocket ship. For Emma, she called out, so she can practice for space. Marcus's vision blurred. He nodded, unable to speak. Sometimes kindness doesn't ask for permission or wait for perfect timing. Sometimes it just runs into the rain, opens its arms, and catches whoever's falling. And sometimes, in ways we never expect, that kindness comes back to save us too. Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, painting the wet streets gold. A new beginning, Marcus thought. For all of us.